Well, I played rugby in high school. So I played for Xavier High School, and then I went to Fairfield. So I knew I was going to play rugby because I wasn't playing a varsity sport. So I got there, it was very different than playing on a high school team where somebody's on your ass all the time to go do things. But it seemed like a good bunch of guys, and I already knew it, so it was very easy for me. So I just started playing, and we played 3 games, and then we got suspended for the whole year. So there was that.
Okay.
We can get into that later if you want.
Let's get into that later.
I would say in high school, you're all operating together. In college and Fairfield Rugby initially, you're going to have 50% of the guys that know what they're doing and are really doing in the beginning of the season. And then, that grows steadily as you play more. But you never kind of reach that 100% everybody lockstep getting there. So, like, for example, I was a forward, played second row in the beginning in Fairfield and second row in high school, and then I played 8 later at Fairfield. And the biggest difference for a forward is when I would get to a breakdown at high school, everybody would be with me. In Fairfield, I have 3 guys with me, and then eventually as the season got on, there'd be more guys there. So that was the biggest. It wasn't like one in unison, and like individual talent would shine through a little bit more in the college game. Then high school, it was more, everybody knew what they had to do, and they did it. That was the biggest difference for me.
And he's being modest. He's a national champ in high school too. So.
Well, thanks, George.
You're welcome. It's being very modest. With me, it's somewhat similar. I played 3 sports in high school. I always liked playing sports. I wasn't going to be playing varsity sports. My father played in 1971. He mentioned rugby, told me to check it out. It would be something if I wasn't going to play varsity sports. Check it out. So I came out. I played. I immediately liked all the guys. Seniors were real friendly. Sophomore class, Brian's class, the year ahead of me was really good to us. Really picked up the sport. I liked it. The kids were surprisingly pretty good athletes. Saw them play intramural basketball, a lot of other sports. So I was just happy. The kids were from where area, New York, New Jersey, Massachusetts. So it was local kids. I just liked the kids, liked the sport, and I just stuck with it.
And that used to be my pitch to get people to come try out for the team, because I had a lot of guys my year that started to join the team later in the years, that it was always, if you're a good athlete, you can play rugby. Trust me, it's not hard. You get scared about hitting, but nobody hits like football. You don't put your head into the middle of somebody's chest because it hurts too much. And so that if you're athletic, and George says still the guys playing other sports, come play. You're going to be good pretty quickly. If you're an athlete, you're going to be good pretty quickly. So that used to be one of my things that I would try to get people to come out, because from playing in college, that's a constant thing. The recruiting thing. You walk by some big guy in college, like, oh man, that would work if we could get him to play. So, oh, absolutely. I mean, there are always going to be a couple outliers, guys that are a pain in the ass, that are making you drink every time you step into a party when you're a freshman. Some people like that, some don't. I'm okay with if you played a lot when you were a senior. That's fine with me. If you're a guy that rode the bench and you're making me drink every time I walk into a room, we're going to have a problem towards the end of the season. But yeah, I would say generally the attitude was great. Everybody wanted you to be there, because that's the difference between a varsity sport that's run by a coach and a club. I mean, we all want you there. We don't want good guys to quit. We're going to make this a fun atmosphere here. We want to get you to know everybody, that we're friends with. We want to get you into the mix with us. Let's go out, have a good time, and then we'll have a good time on the field together. So, I mean, that's my thing when I was trying to run it. Let's have fun. We'll joke around with everybody. It's not really a levels thing. When I was running the club, that was what I was trying to do.
I'd say my opinions are pretty similar. I like the seniors seem to welcome us. I don't know if it was more. I mean, they're happy to get the players and stuff and teach us, but I don't know. Some of them did seem more happy to kind of be ready to abuse us, I guess, in a sense, like make us drink and stuff like that. But I would say from senior down, everybody was helpful, trying to teach us the game, kind of introducing us at parties and stuff like that. That was kind of big coming in as a freshman. You'd be able to go out to a house, a beach house, meet up with somebody who played rugby at some time. They're taking you in, introducing you to people. So you got to meet a lot of people outside of rugby through the upperclassmen too, which I like.
So you guys were undefeated in fall of '98. That's pretty impressive. What, how did that happen? What did you agree to came together for that?
we didn't have a coach that year, and so it was up on the senior class. We had a great team the year before with Duffell's group. They had especially a great pack, but we also had some underclassmen in that pack as well, and they were all coming back. Our back line, I think, really improved. We always had sometimes I felt we had a lot of issues catching the ball in the back line in years past, tackling in the back line. So we had a group of guys that were tackling that were really good. One of the biggest reasons was Westcon, who was kind of like a thorn in our side. They were just a bunch of roots.
All their kids will be watching the game. Let's just put it that way.
I think they're using Brad's kids, people they just picked up.
It's just a fight. You play them, you just get in a fist fight.
It was a fist fight.
The whole game.
Yeah, I think they ended up
Fun times.
getting suspended that year. So that was kind of like, that was something right out of our schedule that was real easy. And historically, we play Westcon, Southern Connecticut, Coast Guard, and then that year Yale. It's usually the Providence or Yale.
And Trinity too, right?
And Trinity. So really, our main competition throughout the 4 years I was there was primarily Westcon and Southern Connecticut. So we basically had a focus. Hey, Southern Connecticut's our first game of the year. If we knock these guys off, we should be in pretty good shape for the rest of the season. So the Southern Connecticut game we played, and it came down to the wire, and we won on basically the last second try with time expiring. And that kind of put us on a high for the whole year. We knew the next game, I think, was Westcon, which was a bye. We won, it was a forfeit. So then we just used the practice, and we just continued building. And kids who needed to play up played up. If kids got hurt, there were a couple contentious selection committees about who played, and we seemed to make the right choices. I know some people's feelings got hurt, but it seemed like we made the right choices in terms of personnel to play. And throughout that year, due to injuries, whatnot, if people stayed, they didn't quit. They could have quit after a bad selection. They didn't. They stuck around, and when it was their time to come in, which happened a lot because we had 3 bad injuries, which I think prevented us from going even further. We lost Kevin Norton was one guy. Joe Simpson broke his arm. If we kept a lot of those guys throughout the whole year, I think we would have went even further. But unfortunately, we only had so many bodies. But everybody who needed to step up, stepped up, and we had a really good season that year.
Well, that pretty much took up most of my time that fall when I was president of the club. We just showed up, and the goalposts were down. You could tell people were playing on the field. And we went out there to practice, and they kicked us off the field. That was the beginning of it.
That was the beginning. Yeah, we showed up because Grauert Field is usually in immaculate shape. We came up; it was all ripped up to shit. We were kind
of. And the goalposts were down. The rugby goalposts were down.
Security. At that time, the security. We went on our regular practice time, and security drove up.
Well, all the time I was there, we never had to ask if the field was available. It was our field. You just show up when you set practice, and you go. There was no one else. It wasn't even a situation where I had to liaison like you do at work now, where you have to reserve the conference room. It was just the rugby field. You went and played. So we did that. We showed up there, and actually, I remember driving up when I went back to school, and I saw this is going to be an issue because it looked like a football field. And there was no communication at all. So we show up there, and we got booted off the field. So I think I went and talked to somebody right away, right?
Yeah, you went right to the administration because I think they booted us actually for Fairfield Prep, right? Wasn't it because they said this is their football practice time? It was something ridiculous. We're like, what are you kidding?
It was a complete mess.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, right after we got booted, you ran up to I think the athletic department or.
And I had a conversation with the athletic department.
It was Jack Hayes, the assistant.
Yeah, I mean they were completely dismissive, like it was nothing that I could do about it. I had continuous meetings. They were like, "Fine." I said, "What do you expect me to do? Find a suitable practice field." Was all I got. There was nothing available. We wound up practicing in a field behind Eli's for a while, and I just would. It's a different time. Like now, the guys would just email a bunch of alumni, but the connection wasn't there at the time like that. We knew people, we knew George's dad, but it wasn't like a direct liaison. We weren't planning 50th anniversary parties right there. The communication just wasn't there. So what I did is I just was a pain in the ass. So I would set up meetings, go see people. I had a meeting with Duffell one time, I think, and then I had another one. I brought my backs captain. He cursed at the guy. He said,
Well, just to back up, we always knew that there was an agreement for the field. We knew that there was some type of paperwork, that bestowed Grauert Field.
We didn't have it, though.
We didn't have it, though. So we were trying to find it. We had heard that it basically used it for primary use in our. So I remember I called my father. I was just like, hey, here's the deal. We're getting kind of screwed around. My father ended up making a couple calls, and at some point, I don't even know how he got it or where he got it from, but we got.
Once we got that, then
we got a copy of it. It
was a little bit more empowering.
So that helped us out, and I believe he took it to that meeting with Duffell.
I took it to the meeting. I brought my back captain. The school was just as dismissive, even when they had it in front of them. And then you remember the wording.
Yeah. Part of the wording in the field, in the agreement, was that the field was donated for the primary use of for the rugby team. So we harped on, it's kind of right in black and white. It says it's being donated for the primary use of rugby. So the way we viewed it, and I think we viewed it correctly, was, it's our field. And there's definitely was the VP of students or something, some big wig. But it was
in the administration building, the Bellarmine one, the meeting, and
Kurt, I actually forgot about this, but Kurt Schlichting, he was kind of the liaison for us with the administration during these meetings. He reminded me after the, I think it was the 45th anniversary. Eric Peel, our back captain, during the contentious meeting, requested that a dictionary be brought in for Vice President Diffley to define primary use.
It was a good point. That then he went overboard, and he's like, you don't know what it fucking is, and that was it. Once you cursed to the guy, the meeting was over.
Then after
So
the
it was a
dictionary
two-pronged thing that we did to get it back. My thing that I tried to do was I didn't have contacts with alumni, it would just be a royal pain in the ass. Part of that I did the Bellarmine practice, where we had a beautiful day. Once, instead of practicing at Eli's, we took the whole team and practiced on Bellarmine Lawn. And that got a lot of people very angry at me. But it was a great idea, just to tell people that we're not going away. And then the other prong of it was George got the alumni involved, got the contract. And once we got that going, it really tried to take off, because the alumni support, that we didn't have that connection, then we had that, and then it pretty much moved on.
It ended up, it didn't work out great, but what happened was, Chris Grauert got involved. People touched base with Chris Grauert. Right. At the time, we had at least 4 ex-rugby players on the board of trustees or board of directors at the school or something. And so they had some weight, obviously, once they heard about it, got involved. We did get some press from the paper, the local, the school newspaper.
Our access to the field was just...
Yeah, it was shot.
No, but eventually...
What happened was the brief agreement was we would get priority, varsity athletes in scheduling classes, because we were had to play on the football or one of the spare football fields for a while. But we were able to register early, so we'd do that. And then by the next year, we kind of got the field back full time, which was excellent. But if we didn't do the practice at Bellarmine, I don't think we would have.
That was good. We got lucky, too. It was a good day. It was doing lines, running. It was fun. It's a good one.
The practice didn't last all that long, but it made it. And then we moved to the quad. They kicked us out of the quad. We got kicked out about 3 places that day.
The Bellarmine one was,
but that
was
kind
a very good idea. It worked. Got people annoyed enough.
Yeah, and then when we went to more diplomatic meetings, it ended up working out.
This was just a practice with a lot of screaming and yelling.
The important. I like that it's. I do like that it's club, and I like that it's the longest running club. Going back to the football field, we got kicked off for the football team. The football team barely lasted 4 years. We're here coming up on our 50th anniversary, so I think that's a testament to. Everybody had a lot of pride in the organization. I think that still carries over. Everybody's very proud to have played Fairfield and made a lot of friends. In terms of traditions, I don't know if you're going with drink up, songs, stuff like that. I like all that. I like the fact that everybody
camaraderie after the rugby game. That's always.
I think that's
excellent. We had drink
excellent.
ups with everybody except Western Connecticut, because we absolutely hated that.
Yeah, but we pretty much we missed a lot of. We've heard people have done award ceremonies. We didn't really do that too much in the 90's in terms of award ceremonies. I don't even know if we knew they were existed or something. I'm sure we would have done that. But
did you have a banquet at the end of the year?
Not so much a banquet, but with the incoming, they would have basically senior selections. You would elect the new officers for the next year, And then we would do like some type of themed Christmas party, which
Those were fun.
Yeah, one year, you know, dress and drag. One year, I think they did like superheroes, you know, something crazy like that. And then they made some awful concoction, like apple cider alcohol concoction, that they would try and teach the 3 people behind them. But I don't think anybody ever remembered the true ingredients, so they just dumped whatever crap they found in the kitchen. And then
A couple years we took a trip to the city too
to
for
do
the
that.
senior selections. That got interesting.
Yeah, and it was just a good year to say goodbye to the seniors and welcome in the new officers. That's something I always liked, and I thought it was a good thing. I would hope that stays.
And the tradition of like picking the players, the selection stuff, I enjoyed that, and I liked the participation. One of my frustrations when I was president is I would get, you know, you're having guys there, right? They want their friends to play. They think some of their friends deserve to play, and at times I wouldn't think it was the best team. So that, as a guy, when I was running the team, it would frustrate me. Like, you know, I have one instance in particular where a guy was playing, you know, wing forward flanker, call it what you will, who's out of practice playing great, and some guy that was great 2 years ago, you know, showed up for the last practice, and I'm on a board with guys that are really good friends to them, and you know, it was one of the worst selections I've ever had, arguing like this is just not right, but I didn't have votes to go with me, so I don't know how you would fix that, but it was a frustrating point. Like, you want to win the game, you want to get the best team out there, and you want to keep the player selection stuff in place. So I mean, there's probably nothing perfect. So that I like the tradition of it, and I don't necessarily agree with the decisions at the same time. I think getting to meet new people helps. For me, a specific thing I can point to is when I was president, I had to, you know, if you can get up and speak in front of all your friends that are going to rip you to shreds for every mistake you make, the next step, talking in front of like a professional environment, is easy. You know, that's one thing, like talking in public, you know, that's one of the things people fear, but rugby really helped me. I had no fear of that. You know, every day after practice, I'm speaking in front of guys that are going to, you know, make fun of me for every mistake that I make. So, you know, you just push it aside, you don't even worry about it. That's like a tangible thing that I think I took from it.
Yeah, with me, I think with sports in general, and especially rugby, you're forced to make decisions, teamwork, like same things like with the selections, you got to try and figure out what's going to work best. So I think just the ability to make decisions, work with a team, overcome adversity, you know, stuff like that, it really helps you after college.
Okay.
Yeah, I was very proud when I was elected president. It was something I liked the club a lot, and I was very happy that my peers thought enough of me to kind of lead them into next season. The undefeated season was also something I'm very proud, because we didn't have a coach that year, and it was all of us working together, the back captains, the scrum captains, you know, trying to get everybody ready to go, and we did a good job, so I'm very proud of that.
You know, I just think I was proud that everybody was just self-motivated to get out there. Everything that you're doing in college, to get out there and just give everything they had. For a game that I said in the beginning, it just takes to be athletic to play, and that would be my pitch, but everybody who's played rugby knows the way you feel the next day, things like that. And just the self-commitment that people have to get out there every day, practice, and then show up and play, and, you know, give everything they have. That would be that I like most proud of for that.
I just love the sport. I don't know, something drew it. Once I started playing, I just really liked playing it, and I had to end earlier than I wanted. I wish I could have played a little longer, but with my job, I couldn't afford to get hurt. So
What was it about the sport you liked the most?
it's something different. I like the speed of the game. I can't really put a word on it. I really can't.
Well, it's just fun. It's an athletic thing. You get out there, you play with everybody. You're all working towards the same thing. You're hitting each other, tackling. It's just if you compete, it's something that you're going to enjoy playing. In my view, you know, it's.
And it encompasses. It's so different from any other sport. It encompasses like almost everything, like jumping, you know, tackling, you know, throwing, kicking. It's just runs a gamut of a whole bunch of different sports, you know. So it's good.